So every other Wednesday. So he'll be here next week.
Yeah, he goes way back with the joint.
Yeah, he started there originally, and I forget what it was, like 1970 or.
We're off mute.
He's looking at me.
Do we have anybody?
Mike Miller's on.
Yes. Mike.
Morning, everyone.
Morning, Mike. So call to order, roll call, pick up myself and Chris from Albany and Gary from the Holmes. That's part. That's Leah from Bill from Troy. Bill Buddies from Waterloo, Maggie Alex from Plano. Got Mark and Tom here, this is RPC. Mike Miller's on a Zoom call for the joint venture team. So I guess we're ready to go. We just had some fresh copies of the minutes from December 12th. So if anyone wants to take a minute, take a look at take a minute to look at the minutes. Anybody have any comments?
Motion to accept. I'll second it.
Okay, maybe Harry, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Minutes accepted. Financial report from Tom.
Okay, $4,200 in the bank, about just shy of 7% completed, the overall budget for the year. And the net is, our accounts payable is pretty much money due to CDRPC that we haven't been able to collect because there's no cash in the account. The net community balances are negative because of the cash position versus the accounts payable. It all balances out.
I did request a 2-year extension for the local government efficiency grant. We have a balance of 139,000. So if that gets approved, then we're good to go.
Okay. And if all the costs been submitted,
They've been submitted through 2023. So I'll have to work out 2024 bills.
That's all prepared now, so we should be able to do that. Yeah, I'm working with the different communities to get them copies of the invoices they requested. Waterloo, Gary, and Bill, I've got the stuff going ahead.
Yeah, I just signed off on something you're paying yesterday, so.
Yeah, it's basically everybody's asking for copies of the invoices going back to before we existed.
Okay.
Yeah, and as I mentioned when I do this, there are expenses from the early years that have not been invoiced within the QuickBooks system. And I have to create those when when Chris paid some bills, I had to go into the system and take the general ledger entry and make it an invoice. So that I can create an invoice to be paid.
Okay.
So that's a bit challenging, but the information's there, it just takes some time.
So Tom, just straight up, so we owe 1 point, as right, as of the end of November. We go $1.9 million into the.
And that, yeah, the net number at the end of December is 2.2.
December, okay.
Yeah, and those are net numbers. So in other words, all the money due to Albany is incorporated into that 2.2.
Okay, so that number.
That's the net number
Does
out.
that include the advance that you spoke about as well?
Yes.
Yeah, we've, trying to get some, you see disbursements. I know we sent something in for Troy. I don't know whether that all got all the way to the disbursement. If it did, could you check on that?
Yeah.
For me, I don't know. We got the paperwork in, I know there was some question about whether EFC was accepting the treasurer's signature.
Oh, really? Okay,
Disbursement request, but
okay.
it
I think
went,
they have previously,
it
because,
went in anyway.
yeah, I think she's done a few of them now.
Well, I think there was some question about it. She was given that responsibility for a period of time.
Mhm.
And
Okay,
in the meantime, there's no control.
they, from what I've heard through the grapevine, I don't know, 100%, they hired somebody yesterday,
Oh,
actually. And they haven't made like an official announcement yet, but I did hear from Russ that they hired somebody.
okay.
Yeah, so that should be good.
Okay, Troy will have the control. Anything else in regard to financial? Then we'll move on to vendor invoices.
Many thanks to Tom and Amy for quickly adding all vendor invoices received this morning to the agenda. Total of $318,179 in invoices.
Yeah, the Beaver Creek ones that were just added, those really have, no cost to the community because it's all grant, whether it's grant money.
Yeah. So that 43 is actually part of the grant.
All that's left on ours is IMG grant.
So everything's going to grant at this point. Okay, so we'll make that adjustment.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it gets a little bit tricky to follow that because they give you the first 5 million at the beginning and they give you the last 5 million at the end. And if you're applying it as how we're applying it.
Well, yeah,
So our invoicing might,
when we got this morning, it was basically, if the grant's not identified, then I just have to put it on the list this way.
okay,
And then we'll be able to grant that, as long as I know there's a grant, I will make the adjustment for the billing out to the communities.
yeah, so it's IMG.
What'll happen is the 43 will go into the expense, but the grant will cover the revenue. That will be at net zero, which will be each time. No billing to the.
So anything covered by grants, that can, obviously that can be reimbursed by the community.
Correct. So in other words, this will show up in QuickBooks as an expense. The only revenue will be the grant recorded for CSO purposes, and then there will be no invoicing out to the communities for that because it's zero net. All the invoices show the total expense minus the grant for the net invoice. In this case, the net zero, so I don't bother.
Yeah. And all the other communities that Troy and goes along, I believe, they're all going to their long-term financing now.
Yeah.
The numbers are,
Yeah, I saw
the numbers,
Paul's email. This
yeah, that's all set, so there's no more disbursements from.
Right.
So,
So we would be getting an invoice for stuff for Cahoes is submitted.
Correct.
So
You'll get your
it's down the line.
58% of that number.
How quickly does that get turned around?
When do you want it? Generally speaking, I post these this afternoon. Once they're approved by the board, I will post them to the system and generate the invoice. But what I'm finishing up right now is the December 31 year end totals, all numbers. First going out will be the invoicing what the communities owe to CSO. And then the second tranche of information will be December 31st. Is that what I have on the books as due to the communities from CSO. So all the bills that have been presented over the years that have not yet been paid. Right. So that all should balance to zero on our books, but it'd be different for each of the communities. Then following up with that, I'll make sure that these invoices go out as well. In the past, going way back when I first started, I would generate the invoices and hand them out at the following meeting. Nobody paid, and now everybody's asking for the same things all over again. So because of that, a number of years ago, I stopped handing out the hard copies of the invoices and just send them when people request them, which is what I'm doing now. And as we wrap this up, more and more things get completed. Those lists don't change as dramatically because there's less invoicing in dollars being submitted.
So we didn't get to a final pay app on the lead sheet yet.
What we have left after this particular one, the one in here is pay app number 9. There's a pay app 10, which is their retainage, 200 some odd thousand. I'm waiting on that until Brenda Lee gets back to us and says Newcastle is A-OK. Mike can attest to this too. CHA actually had to hold their hand on the pay apps, and then we ended up filling out the revised waiver request for Newcastle, went over it with Brenda, and then told Newcastle, this is what EFC is going to accept. Put this on your letterhead, send all that stuff back to us so we can submit it in officially to Brenda. We did that, I think it was like last week. So as soon as I get an acknowledgement from Brenda that everything is kosher, only at that time will I release the payment 10 for payment. Hopefully the next couple of weeks. But we'll see. This has been an ongoing saga. Feels like Homer's Odyssey.
It's been difficult, and I think there's a lot of staff changing on Newcastle, so people are trying to backfill at the end of the project, and they just simply don't know the history or really know much at all.
You're being nicer than I am.
The important thing is that CHA's hold on disbursements should be lifted because we've made all payments as we claimed we always would.
Yeah, we're going long term with that financing that's with that project. So if there's going to be some money remaining, we'll get a disbursement from the long term. But we'll need to know what that number is going to be. But it sounds like you'll know what the number is.
We already know what the number is. The number is a little bit less than what the bid amount was.
Yeah, and goes in terms of that. Yeah, that'll be our submission for disbursement. And Troy will have a final disbursement like that, but that's on their financing for that is closing. So,
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I got a email request from Greg that he needed he needed information on how we procured both Arcadis and CHA on the last two projects.
Yeah,
So I told him we already have, we established a list
yeah,
and we pulled them from the list. But he also needs an environmental form, equivalency environmental form done.
okay,
So I told him, all right, give me the form,
yeah,
I'll see what I can do.
yeah,
I haven't gotten the form yet.
okay. He actually called me while I was here, so I gotta call him back. But yeah, there was a couple, we had a few like tax related bond council questionnaires that we had to fill out. And one of them was about the 54902, exactly, yeah. So I'm not sure, we had to submit both of those by the 10th.
Yeah, Chris and I are having a teams meeting with Touch and us. 11:30 on that, on our takes.
Mhm.
On our phone.
Okay,
Might look different and something different. You're gonna fill out, but is that the rest of your bond council too, is somebody else?
I forget the guy's name right now.
Joe Scott?
No,
No,
no. No,
well, maybe,
Hmm.
maybe we can have Joe Scott talk to you about, because it's.
He's retired.
Yeah,
No,
he-
Joe's,
Joe's a
Frankly, go on.
he's.
Oh, not for you, he's.
hanging-
That's not fair.
He's hanging on to, he says
right,
he's not come. He's just posted.
right. Maybe those two could interface and then. Yeah, okay,
So they kind of fill out some of that question for us and we're
Mhm.
talk to them today about some of the numbers that after the day. So
Okay.
we have to show an ours thing that sometimes it's remainder that we have to drive down and take into monitor that you'll be completely.
Mhm.
Out with this,
Mhm.
and then when you get dispersed, so I think, maybe a little different, but maybe attorneys can talk to attorneys. Then, yeah, on the little seed project, I guess, was that all squared away with EFC for disbursements, cases? Or did they need the utilization?
they had put in the stuff for the waiver request. So we're waiting on Brenda Lee. And plans and specs are in the EFC, DEC. We got comments, Arcadis is almost done answering those comments, so get back.
And, Manor Ave, that's still under the,
Engineering planning grant.
yeah, so that's, there's no, there should be no share. Cause it's.
There's a minor share amount because the
Only
grant
ten
was,
thousand,
yeah,
only 10,000.
Yeah, there's a grant. Amanda
Yeah.
from Board of Village just entering the meeting. So that, just the share of the local share.
right.
How do you want me to report that? There's a good grant on the Manor Avenue.
Yes, there's an engineering planning grant on the Manor Avenue of $50,000.
So this whole 13 is covered by the grant on this particular invoice,
Well, 90% is.
90%. Or is it 75%? We had this conversation before.
Yeah, because when you originally the original contract was for $60,000, and then there was an amendment that brought it up to. Mike, can you help me on that?
Yeah, I think we had to do some, you're right, we did some additional
TV.
television inspection work.
It brought to 72,000.
Yes. Bingo. So, 22,000 would be the amount that's not funded by grant.
No, but this particular invoice, again, are we talking
Do they,
100% grant, 90%
do they
grant?
keep a percentage? Well,
they were doing a percentage, but I think it was based on the 60.
Yeah, well, the maximum grant is 50. It
Right.
doesn't slide above 50. You get a $50,000 planning grant, that's all you get. And then you
Okay,
have to
so-
match it 10%, but in this case, we had to do some additional field investigation and cleaning inspection work in the sewer. So that cost gets borne by the city.
So you come up with a percentage then.
90% grant is what I just heard, it maxed out at 50.
Or it maxes at 50. That's the important thing. It maxes at
50 out of 72.
Well, it's, we'll do 90 till we hit 50, and then everything else will be 100%
Right.
expense.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's
That's the easiest way to do it. And that's what you've been doing.
That's what I thought, and I know we had others that were at 75, that's
Right.
the picture.
Okay.
So, and if we keep that information flowing to us, hopefully when it goes through AFC, it still matches. If there's anything going through AFC.
Okay.
Right.
So I think we've kind of hit, see disbursements, project updates,
Do we want to take approve the invoices?
oh. Can
I'll
I
make a motion.
have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Andrew and Maggie, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Project updates, Beaver Creek is, I think you might have seen, that doesn't really involve this board, but we are asking for an extension on our speeds permit date for the those response test. That's what we needed to get 3 events, longer than 4 hours off of the contact times. And we just didn't happen, so we're requesting to be able to go through this next season, late October, and do that, and then propose it next year. We'll see what the CS has to say.
Is that something that Ryan can just sign off on, or does that have to go on upstairs for higher signature?
No, it gets into a permit,
It's
I
been up
will-
there, Gary.
Okay,
It's outside the 6 months, so it's gonna,
okay, yeah, right.
so with that, it doesn't change there is a consent order date for the post-construction plants monitoring plan, but that
Yeah.
goes into October of 2027.
Okay.
So we have our we're done with it for January of 2026. We could do our post-construction compliance monitoring for October of 2027.
Probably at some point in time when we get coming up sooner than later, though, but, probably talk to the county to see what type of support we can get out of the county sewer district. The water purification district.
Yeah, we gotta figure out what the cost is gonna be for us to do the post-construction compliance.
Yeah, because they don't have manpower that they used to. So. That'll probably be able to supply some support. But
well, we
don't
need
think-
their boat. We need their boat and captain more than anything. Right?
Yeah, no, I don't know where that is, so. I know I haven't been invited on any boats, so. I have no idea where that's located anymore, if they even have it. I'm sure they do have it, but. What condition
Is it
is or whatever.
Seaward? Is it Seaward?
Right.
Exactly.
We don't want to be the trial group.
Yeah.
See where they.
Takes it back up.
Yeah,
Yeah. You're not volunteering?
If I had to, but just, July, please.
Could you see about Ken and JP instead?
Yeah, we could take.
Right.
oh, yeah, that I wouldn't mind. I was thinking about that boat that's on the Bethlehem,
Mhm.
that's sunk,
Oh, yeah.
it's not in the channel, but all you see is the mast coming out of the river.
That's, it don't wanna be like that.
No,
So, then, we were just talking about making the deadline for, the level C submission. Is that coming right up? Or that came up already?
Oh, yeah, that already came up. We met the deadline. And, you know, the next deadline is,
Is it April?
probably April 1, yeah. Because all the dates were either April and then construction complete on that, I think is.
So you have a year and a half?
We're probably gonna be advertising. Maybe by the end of the month. I'm not sure I wanna wait until. I need EFC approval before we can award. Well, I would rather, if I don't get anything resolved and approval, I'd rather just put it out on the street, and then if we gotta change something, we'll put an addendum.
Okay. Well, I could bring that up in the meeting with DC today, that we're going
I think that they're still waiting. I'm not sure that Arcadis, they said that they were almost done. But I don't think that they've submitted answers to the comment chat. I think there was one comment that they were still working on. So DEC would never receive.
well, so balls in our cases court to respond to DC.
Right.
Are they EFC DC comments or are they DC?
No, they're EFC DEC comments.
So when your banner active is, so when it's a normal time grant stage, so
Right.
that's anticipated now in town, right?
The center on that is the dates are a year out further than what we'll see, so. We're ahead of the game there.
And Van Buren Street got done, so we're just waiting for Cross Street phase.
I have
Whatever.
like there's a change order that encompasses a lot of stuff from the project. I'm still waiting to get from Darcy and Louise to get that situated, which might be pretty soon. I've been out for the past week or so, so I know they've been working on that. And then we have to do like the final, like the retainage to get that situated. So I'll have that stuff to submit. And then as far as Cross Street, I have the plans and stuff got submitted, so I think we're just waiting for comments on those. I believe, so.
Did we got anywhere with getting to having Van Buren Street waiver and stuff?
So that's, Louise, Kate, the, office, coordinator of that project, she, reached out to me. She said, we're looking for that final change order because they want to get paid for that. And I said, well, in the meantime, how are we doing? Because I had forwarded that to them on December 14th because I got more comments from Brenda Lee. So I sent that back to them and,
Yeah, don't pay them final payment.
exactly, hold the retainage until we get that utilization plan finally situated, because we've been tossing that back and forth since April, So that's, we're on the same page with that. You're not gonna, because then they'll be off in the wind and then they could care whether that gets finished or not. So yeah, that's the plan. So
Okay,
she told me she'll have it to me by Friday to submit again. So
so any other business? And motion to adjourn. Ready? Bill, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. See you next month.